Okay, today we're going to be solving this problem. What is the intersection of all closed intervals containing the open interval 0, 1? Now, I went into a bit more detail with the definitions in the previous exercise, the previous video. So I'm going to kind of just jump straight into it. So I'm going to let F be the family of closed intervals AB which contain the open interval 0, 1. So namely, I want that A needs to be less than or equal to 0 and 1 should be less than or equal to B. Notice that this is the best I can do, because clearly if these inequalities are saturated, I'm going to get the closed interval 0, 1, which is going to contain the open interval 0, 1. Okay? So remember that closed intervals contain their endpoints, open intervals don't. And then if I try to go further, if I make A smaller than 0, then all of a sudden, for example, if I make A 0.001, then all of a sudden I will fail to contain the open interval 0, 1. Okay? So this is the correct definition for my family. Now, I'm looking at the intersection of all elements of this family. Okay? And I want to figure out what this intersection is. So the intersection over my entire family of these closed intervals AB. Okay? So if we think about this for a second and draw a picture, I have the open interval 0, 1, and then I'm kind of collapsing all these closed intervals onto it. Okay? Then if I collapse a bunch of closed intervals together, intuitively speaking, I should end up with something that's closed and contains 0, 1. Okay? So you kind of have to guess the right answer at this stage. Like, the best way to proceed is to use your intuition and guess the correct form of the answer and then try to prove it. So in this case, the correct guess is 0, 1, closed brackets. Okay? Now, why should these brackets be closed? It's clear that our guess should be some sort of interval 0, 1, either open or closed. Why are they closed? Well, the reason is because every element in this family is going to contain 0 and 1. Okay? So because every element in this family contains its endpoints, the intersection should also contain the endpoints. This is an extension of a more general fact in math, which is that the intersection of any family of closed sets is closed, and the the union of any family of open sets is open. Okay? So the reason why this guess is good is because from a more advanced standpoint, the intersection of any family of closed sets is closed. Now, if you don't know what closed sets are yet, then just replace the word sets with intervals. So the intersection of any family of closed intervals is still closed. It's actually a good exercise to prove, and we probably will stumble across it at some point in our journey. So this is my claim. Now I need to prove this claim. To prove that two sets are equal, I need to prove both sets of the inequality. So let's start with this direction. Let x belong to the interval 0, 1. Well, if x belongs to this interval 0, 1, then clearly it must belong to any interval of this form by our definition of A and B, since this interval AB basically contains the closed interval 0, 1. Okay? So then we can say that A is less than 0 is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 1 is less than or equal to b. So x is within AB. Okay, so sorry, for all A, B, and our family sets F. This is perhaps not the best notation. Let me actually improve my mathematical grammar here, and say if A, B belongs to my family, then A is less than or equal to 0, is less than or equal to X, less than or equal to 1, is less than or equal to B, which tells me that X belongs to AB. Okay, so what I've just shown is that for any arbitrary set in my family, X must belong to that set. So this implies that X must belong to AB for all AB and F, or in other words, by definition of the intersection, this is saying X belongs to the intersection over my family of AB. Okay, so this concludes this direction of the proof. Now let's go for the other direction. Okay, this direction is actually easier now than in the previous problem. The reason is because actually 0, 1 is an admissible member of our family. So note that 0, 1, unlike the previous problem, belongs to F. This is easy to check because 0 is less than or equal to 0 and 1 is less than or equal to 1. Okay, but then if X is in the intersection over everything in the family, then X belongs to, by definition, everything in the family. If it belongs to everything, then it certainly belongs to 0, 1. Because 0, 1 is in the family. So this concludes our proof.